All right, guys. So welcome back. Wanted to go through a couple of sleeping bags here. Mainly do a comparison for some people who might be wondering. I have two sleeping bags, two Peax sleeping bags to be precise. One of them is the 0 degree bag, and the other one is the 15-degree bag. Both of these are in a regular, but the 15-degree bag is actually in a regular wide. Mainly because I was just curious to see if there was a big difference for roominess in there. I am 5'11", about 215 pounds, give or take. Typically somewhere for like sweaters and shirts, somewhere between a large and an extra large. Really just depends on the sizing, mainly in my shoulders. Not so much anywhere else, but my shoulders, my chest, fairly broad for my height, I guess. Um, and I will say, after having these two bags side by side, they are both roomy. So this one over here is the this is the Peax 0 degree bag in a regular, and it fits just fine for a guy my size. I have no issues with it. I don't feel constrained at all. And honestly, for a 0 degree bag, I don't want it to be any wider than what it needs to be. Just because if it's a 0 degree bag, you're looking at, extreme temperatures, and the less room that I have to heat up with my own body, the better. But with this, I mean, I don't feel like this is too small of a bag. I did think though, however, for a regular or for a 15-degree bag, most of the time I'm going to be using that probably above freezing, I would say. If it gets below freezing, typically I like to switch to a 0 degree bag just because I'd rather not freeze. And if I don't need to layer up at all at night, that's ideal for me. But that regular bag, having those couple of extra inches of width, really does add a lot of room, more than I actually thought it would. It's a very roomy bag for a guy my size. I mean, I you got all kinds of room to move around in there. I would say this bag, as is, if you're familiar with like the Stone Glacier Chilkoot, or the Argali um, Alpine, um, pretty similar. Maybe not quite as roomy as the Argali, um, but I would say it's not too far off from like the Chilkoot. Uh, Pretty much the same. This bag, the 0 degree bag, has a ton of loft. I would say it's not as lofty, obviously, as like the Stone Glacier, with the way that they do their stitches or their baffle pattern or baffle stitching. It allows for a lot of loft, but weight wise, um, for actually what's in there for down, very similar to the Stone Glacier bag. I think there actually might be a little bit more in this bag if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I've used this bag down to 5 degree night. It performed flawlessly. I had no cold spots, no nothing. The arm street ports are awesome. It worked great, and the hood has a lot of stuffing, and the foot box on this one is amazingly fluffy, and it was extremely warm. I was very impressed. I actually could almost feel the heat just radiating inside the foot box when I used this bag. But I put this next to, I have an Argali Alpine 0 degree bag too, and I used to have a Stone Glacier Chilkoot. There's a lot of loft. The loft in this is misleading because of the centered zip. It kind of holds that weight down, which makes it look like it doesn't get as big. But it's got a lot of loft. When you actually unzip it and start looking at the thicknesses here, it's got a lot, and it's that way all the way around. So if you're somebody that side sleeps and you roll, you're not going to have any cold spots even underneath of you. But very nice bag, very warm. I will say that the 15-degree bag here, first off, just kind of one thing to touch on. As far as I can tell, these are the same bag. It's just how much. Hey, Nim. It's my dog, Nim. They appear to be the same exact bag. It's just how much loft or how much down is actually in them. This one has, I believe it's almost 30 ounces of down. That's at 850 plus down, goose down. I think this one has 22 and a half, which is roughly about the exact same as the Stone Glacier 15-degree bag. Um, I don't remember how much the Argali has off the top of my head, but it's warm. Um, I think you'd be just fine in it if you're a guy that sleeps fairly warm, down to roughly that 15 degrees. It is ISO rated. The comfort is 25. The limit is 15. The way that those ratings typically work is if you're a man, the limit is kind of what you want to use. The comfort is typically for cold sleepers or women. It's not always the case. That's why try out your gear before you take it out and need to survive with it, but or thrive at least. But for me, that's kind of how it works. Limit ratings are usually where I'm at. Um, there's a lot of different ways that sleeping bag manufacturers can market their bags and how they brand them for temperature wise. But the ISO rating gives you a starting point. They're a great thing to go by, just because you can usually kind of judge in advance where you're going to get cold in that bag if you're halfway familiar with using ISO in the past. Both these bags, obviously center zip, arm ports, they do both go to quilt. I will say that the quilt option in both of them is pretty handy. This hood on the 0 degree is very puffy, and when you actually tuck it away into the neck port here, it's got like an extra fabric around the collar. You can tuck away that hood and use it as a quilt, flip it upside down, use it as a quilt, but you get a pretty hard area, I guess, just where that hood is wrapped up tight. Um, it's not really a bother by any means, but you definitely notice it. With this one, it's a lot lighter. There's not as much down or poofiness in that 15-degree hood. It's less of an issue. You can use this bag probably more efficiently as a quilt, which was another reason I thought the wide would be nice, because it just gives you more of a quilt to kind of wrap around yourself if you were using it in warmer conditions. I do like it, though. It's a good idea. It does help you kind of extend the usefulness of your sleeping bag. I'm going to bring the camera down here and kind of give you guys a good look at the bag itself. So these bags, you might be able to see off the top here. The 15-degree bag definitely isn't as full. It's got some kind of wrinkles to it. I'm trying to give you the best view I can here. It's got some wrinkles to it. It's not quite as just maxed out as like the 0 degree bag there. The 0 degree bag, I would say, is on par with like the Argali, the Stone Glacier, everything else. It's very lofty and it takes up those baffles nicely. Again, I would say that goes back to the fact that I think, these are both the same bag, probably the same cut, the same baffles. It's just, you're about probably 25% less down material in this 15-degree bag than you are in the 0 degree bag here. I don't think that's unusual by any means, and I don't think that's a bad thing. It is supposed to be a more of a 3-season bag than a 4-season or cold weather or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I would call this a 4-season bag. With the quilt option, the vents, it's going to allow you to obviously use it longer. Maybe more of a 3-season bag, just a different 3 seasons, your summer, fall, maybe early spring. Not so much, or sorry, your winter, fall, early springtime. Not so much your summer, where this is going to be your summer, your later spring. your early fall kind of bag here. So between the two, you really have a, two bags to get you around the full year. You could probably make either of these work all year long. Both of these are also going to have a three-way zipper. So most sleeping bags that you'll see have a two-way zipper. You can vent them from the top down or the bottom up. With this and having a third zipper in there, it does allow you to vent anywhere along that zipper. So if you want to let heat out by your legs, your crotch, your chest, your whole body, whatever you want to do, you can do it. They both do have the anti-snag zipper, which is a great design. It's, in my opinion, the best zipper I've come across for sleeping bags. I've said it before, it doesn't necessarily keep you from snagging your sleeping bag material at all. What it does though is it's supposed to help keep you from eating that material into your zipper and causing damage to the shell material. It seems to work pretty well. I mean, even as far as getting it snagged, it seems to kind of reduce those. But as you can tell here, hopefully, I'm trying to do this all on just my tripod, and that makes it kind of difficult. But the regular 0 degree bag is definitely a bit narrower in the shoulders, and I don't know if you can see it, but it is narrower in the foot box too. Not by much, but it doesn't look like much anyways. But when you're actually in the bag, you can tell your feet just seem to have more room. But yeah, this bag and that bag, both great. They seem to be good loft. It definitely is a little misleading with the 15. It has way more loft than it looks like. Like when you get in there and actually open it up, you can tell that there's a decent amount of loft. And I don't have any real concerns with it being sufficient down to the temperatures it's supposed to be. The arm ports again are great, especially if you're somebody that is running a stove, has contacts that you need to take in and out. The other thing is, I will say, Peax's storage bag, storage sack, whatever you want to call it, is what I feel undersized. So if you do get one of these bags, I would look at getting a larger storage bag to store it in long term. I went with a Western Mountaineering one for mine, but there are other options. Amazon has some. Actually, you can find them on Home Depot, and like sports balls bags work as well. Or just if you got room to lay it flat under a bed or something, you can do that as well. These bags both did take about a day, about 24 hours to first fully loft up when I took them out of these storage bags, because God knows how long they were in there before you get them. But once they do loft up, as long as you keep them in a bigger storage bag, I did throw both of these into a stuff sack after I got them, left it in there for 6 to 8 hours, give or take, and then pulled them out, see how long it takes for them to reloft back up to where they were after kind of their max loft that I initially had them to. And it was about 20 to 30 minutes, give or take. Pull them out of their store or their stuff sacks, give them a little shake, kind of like what I would do if I was getting to camp. Lay them out in about 20 minutes, give or take. They were lofted about back up to ground zero, kind of where they initially were before I put them in there. So comparing that against other bags, I've done that with my Stone Glacier bag, my Western Mountaineering bags, my Argali bags. It's all about the same. These both are treated down, and they do have this, I believe it's Tory Air Tastic. I could be slaughtering that. Shell fabric, and I believe it's DWR coated as well, and then it's got treated down. They both come with the waterproof paneling on the hood and the foot box, so if you're running a TP tent, condensation's a little less of a concern. But yeah, both good bags. I would say if you're, a bigger guy, you could definitely go with the wide. If you're a guy my size, you could go either way. If you're worried about getting cold, probably stick to a regular. If you're less worried about getting cold and you want a little bit more room just for comfort, or you don't mind layering up if you do get cold, wide's a good one to go for. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you next time.